Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Great.
Good. My name's Gary Hillier. We've not met before.
No.
You know that I'm one of the attorneys here representing Adrian.
Yes.
And you've testified before, right?
Yes.
Probably a lot of times.
Yes.
So you know that I have to ask you some questions.
Sure.
There are no trick questions. So if I tend to speak fast sometimes, if I am, please just say, hey Gary, slow down, and I'll repeat my question.
Thank you.
Fair enough? Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I want to go back to the beginning, right, of your testimony. So you said that. So are you still in the San Antonio field office?
Yes.
With the FBI.
Correct.
Right. And at the time you were doing a role, but your auxiliary role was evidence response.
Yes.
An evidence response team for the FBI.
That's correct.
And is that your current role still?
Yes, not so much anymore because I've been really busy.
Right.
But I'm still a member of the team. Yes.
And you were the team lead back then.
I was the acting because our original team leader was out of the office at the time.
Acting team lead.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll talk about that in a minute. And before that, I think you said that you were a crime lab analyst for the Department of Public Safety.
Correct.
And was that at the lab in Austin?
No, it was a lab here in Corpus, actually.
Oh, so you worked down in Corpus?
Yes.
And I think that you said that your primary focus when you were doing that in Corpus was DNA analysis.
Correct.
And kind of that, I guess that kind of dovetails into one of your auxiliary roles now was the evidence collection.
Correct. Yes.
And it must inform how you go about your role now.
Correct.
Yeah. But let's talk about your time with your FBI forensics. So you said that you obviously went through the academy to become an agent.
Correct.
And then you had additional training. Is that fair to say in the crime scene investigation?
Yes.
And
I've been an agent since 2004.
Right. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense. And 10 years before that was with the DPS.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That because the numbers weren't adding up.
Okay.
I get it. So you said one of the roles that you do, and well, you were an acting team leader at the time of this incident.
Yes, there's a team lead for every crime scene, right? So at that time, I was the acting team because our most senior team leader was gone.
All right, so that's a yes, right?
Yes.
So how many people were in your team?
Our office is pretty big, right? So we have a team up in Austin, we have a team out in McAllen,
Right.
and then we have a team in San Antonio. And so I can't even venture to get. I don't even know how many people are on the team.
Well, maybe that's the way I asked that was different. So how many people were on your team at this time?
During the initial response, if I remember correctly, and forgive me, this is 2022, there was probably around 8 to 10.
Yeah, an approximate number is okay. I'm not trying to tie you to
Yeah.
a specific number. So it's not 200. It's 8 to 10 people are on your team.
About that time, yes.
Yeah, because we'll talk about it in time. But some of the search techniques you're talking about, doing line searches and stuff, that is, you need a lot of people to do that effectively.
Sure, the more people, the better.
The more people, the better, because it's detailed and it's intensive work, right?
It's detailed, yes.
Yeah. So there's 8 to 10 people around, right, in your team. And you were supervising this team as an acting lead because the lead was out for whatever reason, right?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what reason they're out for, but they were out. You were in charge for that time period.
We had other individuals come in from other offices to shore up the number of people that we had initially.
Right.
So in the beginning, the first day, it was a little tougher because we only had so many people.
Right.
But then we had people also come in from the valley, so that's a longer drive. So we had more people later.
So more
Yes.
people came to assist in your crime scene investigation later on.
Sure. Yes.
Right. Okay. So I'm still trying to talk about your experience and your training right now. So you said that you did. You got some training and experience in crime scene reconstruction.
Yes.
Is that correct? Now, the jury's not heard any testimony about that. Do you use any scanners, such as a Leica scan, when you recreate crime scenes?
No, so you got to understand when I first started, it was in 1994, right? So the technology was more basic back then. So a lot of it is just more rudimentary, right? When I was with DPS, that's when I got the bulk of my crime scene reconstruction training.
Right.
we were doing everything with just 1 or 2 or 3 people in the lab, right? Most of our crime scenes were done with just a few people. Now that I'm with the FBI, everything's more specialized. We have more people, more resources. And so there will be somebody doing certain techniques, other people would do certain techniques. Back then, when I first got my crime scene reconstruction training, it wouldn't be strange for an analyst to go and do the photograph themselves, then do the evidence collection, then do the lab work, and then write the report, everything from beginning to end. But we don't do that anymore.
Okay,
I don't do that anymore.
No, and I wasn't suggesting you do. I'm just talking about some of the techniques because my next question was based on whether or not you Leica trained. Was a Leica scan used in this case?
I don't think so. No, not by us.
Not by you.
We were asked to do one thing.
Yeah, and so what I want to do is explain what a Leica scan is. There is technology out there, and I understand your testimony to the jury is that when you did your training, the technology was a bit more, and the techniques were a bit more rudimentary. Is that fair to say? And obviously now you know that law enforcement has access to some devices, and one of them is called a Leica scan, which is a scanning tool that surveyors use, and they use it in construction, right?
We have surveying, so we did a total station scan.
Right.
And we also have scanning equipment that we have, and we did a total station of the whole scene.
Right, okay, so you did a scan in this case.
Yes, I'd like a survey of measurements.
So it's kind of like a Leica, it's slightly different. It would be, you're a man move around.
Sorry?
May I move around the world?
Sure.
So a Leica scan would be, or a total station is something you put on a podium or a plinth or something like this thing here.
Yes.
An easel, it's not an easel, but you put it on something and it will scan an area, correct?
Yes.
And it will identify where things are.
Yes.
And it will note that. And then you put it into a computer system and later on it will print something out and it will be a map showing where all the evidence is.
Correct.
And so a total scan was done in this case, right?
Total station, yes.
Total station, which is
Similar.
It's not a Leica. Leica's probably like a brand name.
Yes.
It's the same sort of thing. And that is, it creates a document and it shows where things are after you've marked it, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And okay, so you did use that in this case.
Yes.
All right, good. We'll talk about it in a minute. And so one of the things you also spoke about is, I guess when you process a lot of these scenes, is you're looking for evidence of firearms.
Yes.
And ammunition.
Yes, correct.
And it sounds like in this case, well, in this case you'd agree with me, your focus was mostly on spent ammunition.
That's correct.
Right, and documenting that.
Yes.
Right, okay. Because I think you said something along the lines of you can glean, and this is where your previous experience comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can glean a lot of evidence from a used cartridge. Right?
Yes.
And sometimes that could be in your other focus previously it would be DNA.
Sure.
Right. Not so much in this case because we know who shot that gun, right?
That's correct.
Right. Because the person who did this was already dead by the time you came and investigated.
That's correct.
Right. So in this case you weren't investigating a suspect as such.
That's correct.
You were just documenting the scene and for investigatory purposes.
Yes.
So in this case, it's slightly different to others where you're not worried about contamination as much because you're not worried about DNA being washed off of anything.
No, we weren't concerned about DNA.
No, and so that will change how you deal with things slightly, right?
Yes.
Because if you were concerned about DNA, which you weren't, right, hypothetically, there'd be more urgency to do this now, right, to collect it immediately or as fast as possible.
Well, we weren't under any time constraints, right? We still have to go through our process. Long range shot, medium range shot, close up shot, you mark it, you pick it up, you do another close up shot of it. So we weren't under any time constraints.
That's what I mean. So that's what I mean. You weren't under any time constraints because you didn't have the urgency to preserve DNA evidence as such as you would in other cases.
DNA is very stable. Depending on the environment, DNA could last a long time, right?
Okay.
So, but we didn't have that consideration in our minds.
Exactly. So you wouldn't, DNA is stable sometimes. It's funny, you'll hear different people testify to different things about DNA and how stable it is. But you wouldn't want to get washed off of an object.
No, correct.
No. So anyway, so in this case, your role was to come and document the scene.
Yes, outside. Outside the school, not inside.
And as outside. Yeah, because where I'm going with Thank you, Jason. With that is because the next day it rained. This happened on the 24th, the next day, well, it rained overnight, I should say.
I think it rained that evening.
Yeah.
Because we were in the middle of doing this, and I remember it raining. So I think it was that evening.
We can look at it. I think one of the state's photographs I introduced, you can see this is some inclement weather. So, like, yeah, normally that would inform how urgent you are with recovering stuff. But you were doing outside, right?
We were just doing the outside. That's correct.
And so the DNA thing, despite the DNA thing, the shell casings can reveal other things. And you're on my approach to the witness.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to use states very briefly. I think it's demonstrative 2 again. Bring this over. Because, so, I know you've already explained that, and I think it states 19. What does it feel like? Yeah, 19's the shell casings, right? And these are the ones you recovered from the scene.
Correct.
Without going into the packets. And the shell casing, the jury's heard evidence about this before, is just the cartridge. That's the shell casing.
Yes.
Right? The projectile gets shot out the barrel, and this cartridge gets ejected out of the weapon.
That's correct.
Right? And I think the testimony earlier was that when a weapon recycles, or a firearm is fired,
Mm-hmm.
the firearm pin goes forward, strikes the primer,
Yes.
right? Very fast burn, some people call it an explosion,
Mm-hmm.
happens, and the projectile gets fired out the barrel.
Correct.
Right? Because of the action of the weapon, it recycles, and the bolt action of the rifle or the weapon brings this cartridge back and it gets ejected out of the weapon.
Correct.
And like you said, we know that with a long weapon, it's to the right-hand side.
Yes.
And it can, how far that projectile or that spent casing can be thrown can depend on a couple of things.
Yes, like where it ends up could depend on a lot of different
Depend
things.
on a lot of things. And so, and what I'm saying is you can find evidence on this casing of tool mark. You're familiar with tool mark analysis, right?
Yes.
And so one of those things is the markings. Tool mark analysis, you'd agree, is the markings that are left on, in this instance, the casing by the metal inside that weapon.
Okay,
Right?
so
Roughly speaking.
roughly speaking,
Roughly speaking.
yes.
Without getting too deep into the science.
Yes.
Roughly speaking. Because there will be, the firing pin will leave an individual characteristic.
An indentation on the primer.
Indentation,
Yes.
because each firing, it's like a fingerprint for a weapon. Kind of.
Not so much with the firing pin, but
The totality.
Yes, yes.
Because the firing pin will some weapons they'll fire and strike in the same place, and also you'll find some markings that are similar on the cartridge from where the round is getting stripped and spent and shot out of the weapon by the ejector claw or pin.
You could, yes.
And that will, so depending on the configuration of that weapon is one of the factors when how far and where that spent cartridge goes, right?
Sure.
Right. And so, just think about that for a second. I mean, like I said, there's lots of variables that can affect that, and I guess certain batches of ammunition can be different from others, right? And so,
Sure.
And that can affect how far a spent cartridge goes, right?
Yes.
But when it comes down to it, you testified that case location is mostly an educated guess. Would you agree with that?
Depending, yeah, because there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, because of the variable.
Yeah.
And I should say where the case comes to rest is mostly a guess.
It's like an approximation. It's kind of like an educated guess, right?
An educated guess. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's what you said. I'm just using your testimony. You said you can guess how and where the shooter is.
Educated guess.
Educated. Well, I agree with you. An educated
Yeah.
guess. And it would depend on lots of factors, like you said. I mean,
Sure.
If you're standing on concrete and a round gets expelled, the cartridge gets expelled, it can bounce,
It can bounce.
it can spin,
Sure.
and it will move.
Sure.
Right. And if you're firing on grass, maybe it will stand still. It will just drop and sit still.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Right. And it's a guess, but you'd agree with me that the grouping of where these rounds end up. When I say rounds, I should say casings.
Casings.
A grouping, a specific grouping of casings on the ground or on the floor is an indication, the best indication we've got of where the shooter was at the time.
That's a good indicator because it's consistent that, okay, why are all these in the same kind of location?
Yep. And I think you said the shooter is around that radius. Is that correct?
Sure.
Right. So I want to talk to you about your work in this scene, if
Okay.
we can. So we've already said that you were the team lead, and I think you said when you first started doing this, did you say you had eight people assisting you?
I think around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll talk about the actual mechanics of your search in a second. But would it be fair to say that you go to a location, you speak to whoever's in charge, and they give you some parameters and instructions on what to search for?
Sure.
And you do a visual search,
Yes.
and then you'll do a physical search, right?
Yes.
And then while you're doing that, you flag. Is that correct?
Anything out of the ordinary, you would put a marker, you would flag it so you can come back to it later.
Yeah, and you know if I may move, Judge?
Yes.
So you'll and when you say you do a line search, you did a line search in this case, right?
Correct.
And so when you're doing it on concrete, would it be fair to say that someone is in the middle, that's probably the leader?
No, it can be anywhere.
All right, anyone. So you will have a line, correct?
Yes.
And you'll stand line abreast. And you'll advance along a certain area.
Yes.
And I guess on concrete, you're probably standing,
Yes.
right? And when you're moving onto grass, you're probably on your knees, right?
No, we're standing.
Standing all the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've done that where you're kneeling, it's hard work.
You can do that too, depending on the surface that you're dealing with.
Yeah, depending on, because on grass, things might not be as obvious as they are when you're standing, right?
Correct.
Especially if you've got bad eyesight. Right, so you do a line search. Okay, so you do a search. And so when, like you said, you see something out of the ordinary, here you're looking for spent shells, you'll put like a flag down.
Yes.
Because and the reason I ask that is because there's we can see in the States evidence, there's little red flags,
Yes.
and then there's a number card placed next to some of them,
Yes.
right? And so these are two separate processes, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So first you walk your area, and I believe, Judge, may I approach again? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Let me use the State's demonstrative so we can just confirm this. I think that you said that this is the, obviously we know what we're looking at here. You started your search over by this area here on the left.
That's fenced off.
Yeah.
So we actually started on the grass side of that.
On the inside of it.
Yes.
So your line search would be inside the fence area here that I'm indicating
Yes.
on the demonstrative, advancing across the grass area towards the parking lot, right?
Yes.
And so as you're going across there, you're putting red flags or whatever colour they are. They're red in this case.
If you see something.
If you see something,
Yes.
because obviously you wouldn't do it if you didn't see something.
That's correct.
So and there's 8 of you doing that. What's up?
We started with 8, but we enlisted other people's help, whoever was standing around to help. So I don't know how many people really.
Yeah.
But we started with 8.
And I didn't mean to talk over you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to tie you down to a specific number.
I understand.
Because this is a big area, right? We can agree on that.
Sure.
That's a big scene to go over.
No, that's correct. It was big.
So it's very detailed work.
Yes.
Right? So you're walking slowly across here. Anyone sees anything, they put a red flag.
Correct.
Okay, and then you've done that, advanced all the way to the building.
Hmm.
Then once you've done that, you then place markers down on significant items.
When you're about to pick up the evidence, if it's something that you think is important. So the red flag just identifies what we need to look at again. The yellow marker with a number is our actual items that we're going to collect. So in the beginning, you could have something that has a red flag on it, but upon closer inspection, that might not mean anything to you.
Right, so you'll put a flag down to see that's something of interest.
Yes.
Then you'll go back and you'll put if you're going to take a photograph of it and preserve it, then you put the card down.
With a number.
With
yes.
a number. And they're the yellow things with a number, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And so you do that, and then the next thing you do is you'll document it with photographs.
Correct.
And that's what you did in this case.
Yes.
And then after that, having photographed the scene, you then will collect those items.
Yes.
Right. Okay. wanted to look at some of these photographs. Bill, can we publish some of these photographs? Publish them? Yeah, can you publish them for you? Please, guys? Would you better go to States 96 first? Could you go to 96 first, please, guys? Yeah. No, it's not good.
Oh, he needs to know what exhibit number. You're right.
I'm going to. Sorry, Judge, can I approach? Sorry, I just did it anyway.
No, go ahead.
So,
No. He needs to know. They're not marked on there.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm going to put this map up again. So having established how your process, I want to look at some photographs here so we can see what we can deduce from the scene, right? So we're waiting for, I think the first picture we're going to look at has been previously marked as States Exhibit 96. So while we wait for the photo to be put up on the screen,
Okay.
I can show you what's been marked as States 96.
Yes.
Right, and so I'll show you. This is States 96. We're going to show it on the screen in a second. So I made the witness come down and mark on the demonstrative where this is located.
Yeah, is that in evidence or not?
This is, yeah, so this. They're both in evidence, yeah. This has been admitted, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to mark on the
No,
the chart?
just to show. Can you
Okay.
show whereabouts on the diagram here this is oriented?
Okay, so in this picture, you'll see the AC behind the fence,
So it's here, right?
and it's right here.
So this would be fair to say that, there we go, I think that's it there, right?
Yes.
There we go. Cool.
Okay, can I see a picture?
So we'll wait till we get it up.
Okay.
There you go. Right, okay. So we are, so that, you'd agree this is the southwest corner of the building, right?
Yes.
And I think that what we can see on the photograph there are these are AC units. You were there, right?
Yes.
And they're big industrial ones, probably about 4 feet tall. Approximately.
I've seen bigger, but yes, they're big. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And so what we can see in the photograph here, if I approach, that's where we know where it is. Are during your search and your line search, somebody has identified with red flags evidence that needs to be recovered, right?
Yes.
And then 3, 4, and 5 are the numbers that they're given, and they're probably projectiles we're going to see next. And then in a similar area, right?
Yes.
So, and in the background we can see this thing that's been described as a pavilion, and we can see one police car. That's a police car. It's a white vehicle. You were there,
I
right?
think, yes.
Yeah. But so if this, and again, we don't, depending on the weapon characteristics and the ammunition, we don't know how far away the person was who fired this, but it'd be fair to say that if these rounds are found here, these cartridges are found here, whoever fired them would be to the left of it somewhere, right?
Well, it depends on like where you shoot, right? Because here you see the round sitting there. What if the person was shooting that direction and the ejection goes this way? Well, you don't know. I can't tell what
Okay.
direction
Well,
the
let's-
shooter was at.
Let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
So for them to be here,
Mm-hmm.
right, the person would either have to be over here, to the left of it.
Can I stand up here for a
Of course you can. If the judge allows that, Judge.
Sure. So, if you have a round here, so the person could be pointing this way, or that way, or that way, or that way, as long as the ejection port, as long as this is to the side of it. right? So you can't tell just from looking at this what direction the person was facing. You understand what I'm
I do. That's what I'm going to show you some more photographs. But let me get. So what my point of this says, well, I want to talk about that first. Right?
Okay.
So I agree with you. You're correct. So the person who fires these rounds could be standing to the left of these cartridges, right? That's a possibility.
Yes.
And as you pointed out, the person who fired those rounds could also be firing them in that direction, up the side of the building.
Yes, I can't tell.
You can't tell. And they could, for them to be here, they could also be standing on here, firing them off into the distance that way.
Sure.
Right, that's possible. But this isn't the only photograph we took, right? So I want to look at some more. That's
Okay.
possible.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. So you look at 102 next, which is, I think, is a closer up version of that. Because, Agent, one of the things, while we queue up the evidence, one of the things that one of the things that you testified to, this isn't an exact science, what we're talking about, the grouping of casings on the floor, right?
It's not exact.
It's not.
No.
So the best thing that you have is your educated guess.
Yes, if you look at, you have to look at the whole scene.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what I'm saying is your educated guess is informed by the characteristics of the weapon, right, and the ammunition that it's using, right?
Yes.
And also by the grouping of these cartridges on the floor.
That's part of it, yes.
Yeah, and it's because, I mean, I guess someone could have, did you know if anyone test-fired this weapon?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Because, for example, it is possible, and it does happen, right? You'd agree that sometimes these weapons that are found at scenes are test-fired?
Yes, if you're going to do ballistics, you have to test fire the weapon.
For ballistic analysis, that's right. But in this case, it could be, if somebody wanted to get a more informed, educated guess, this weapon could be fired and the ejection of the cartridges could be measured, right? Based on this weapon, because the weapon has individual characteristics, right?
Yes.
And there's class and individual characteristics when we're talking about firearms tool marks, right?
Yes.
Without going into that, an individual characteristic is this thing, from my approach, is where the ejector leaves a mark on the shell casing, right?
Yes.
So as this casing comes back, it will get ejected out of the weapon, whether it's a handgun or a long weapon, and the ejector will oftentimes leave the claw, or whatever you want to call it, will leave a mark on this, a tool mark on this shell.
It could.
It
Yes.
could, it could. Sometimes it does, and that,
Yeah.
that people look at that. And that specific ejector claw or hook will influence the way the shells come out of that weapon,
It could.
right? So one thing that could be done, but it wasn't done, you didn't do it, right, because that wasn't your job.
Yeah, that's out of what
I know it
out of
wasn't,
scope.
but it is outside the scope of what you were doing because you were looking at the scene and preserving that. But somebody could later on have test-fired the weapon in a controlled environment similar to this one, maybe on concrete, to see how far and where the rounds were flying after the weapon had been ejected in the cartridge. And just a second. Yeah. And so which one is this? This is 102. Right, and this is 102. And Judge, may I approach the TV again? So this is a different angle, and I guess, Agent, here, just if I can orient you on this big map here, Agent over here, is, will you agree with me, we're looking at this area, like kind of parallel to the south of the building.
Yes, along the AC units.
Yeah, and because we can see the AC units here.
Yes.
Right, we can see the AC units here. We've got a flag, a red flag, if somebody's walked and close to something of interest, and a shell. So shell casing is number 6, right?
Correct.
So what somebody couldn't be doing is that they can't be firing that way and the round going to the left of them, right? That's not the way that firearm works.
No, the ejection ports are on the right side.
Yeah. So either they're firing this way and it's going out to the right, is that right? Or they're somewhere to the left of this and it's being ejected to the right.
Well, you can't tell because somebody could be standing to the left of the shell and fire that way, or they could be standing to the.
They could be standing somewhere in this. This is a parking lot to the left here, right?
Yeah. Looking at the shell itself, you can't tell what direction the person was shooting. You would have to look at the entire scene in total.
And you'd look at the groupings, right?
That's part of it. That goes into the equation. Yes.
Because we weren't there, right? So we don't know.
Yes.
So all we can do is follow the evidential trail and make deductions from it.
Sure.
Right. Okay. So what we're seeing here is we're looking down this path, this pathway that goes around the south of the building. You agree with that?
Yes.
And here on the top left-hand side of the photograph, we see these AC units.
Yes.
Right. So it is possible that the person who fired this shot, this expended cartridge, was in this parking lot somewhere. Right.
That's a long ways for it to eject.
Well,
the parking lot is pretty far away from where that sidewalk is.
remember what we said, but what is this thing here that's what is this made of here? This
That's concrete.
that's concrete.
Yes.
So if an expended cartridge bounces on grass, what will it do? Probably.
It'll probably stay in the grass.
Right. If something lands on concrete, what's an ejected cartridge possibly going to do?
It could bounce,
It could
it could
bounce.
roll, or it could stay where it's at, depending.
It could bounce, it could roll, it could spin, right?
Sure.
It could keep traveling. Right?
Yes.
Can you look at 107, please? So what we're looking at now, Agent, is states 112, sorry. Right? You
Yes.
know that one? Okay, and so just to orient ourselves on this, the map here, this is the same view as the last one, but further away, right?
Yeah, that helps. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a further back view, because you do like long range, medium range, then close, then super close, right?
Yes, it gives you a different perspective.
So this, I'm going to show you, I'll hand you the photograph here. You can see that there's multiple red flags with evidence being collected, right?
Yes.
Up here. So again, you'd agree this is kind of an indication this is a group of where the spent cases are,
Yes.
right? And again, it's not an exact science where the weapon was fired, but it's an indication.
Yes.
And you'd agree with me that these spent cartridges, well, how many do you see? One, probably 6, 7 in that photograph, right?
Yes.
Are all in a line just on the edge of this paved concrete parking lot.
Yes.
You'd agree with that, right?
Yes. Of course.
So one of the things that we can deduce from this photograph is we're looking at this, is that the shooter could be to the left of that.
Sure.
We don't know how far because we haven't test fired the weapon. We don't know anything about the power of the ammunition other than what rating it is. So it's possible they're on the left-hand side, right?
Correct.
So this would be consistent, or this could corroborate evidence that the person might be to the left-hand side of this SUV here, right?
I wouldn't say, I mean, there's somewhere, to me, it looks like they could be behind the SUV. I don't know if they're to the left of the SUV.
Yeah, okay, so they could be behind the SUV, so if
Yeah.
we say the SUV is here, around here somewhere, right?
Sure.
Yeah. They could also be to the left here, maybe, depending. If we, and again, like I said, we don't know, but if there had been the weapon had been testified, we could have a better educated guess of where that rounds would have been fired from, right?
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And by the same token, what it can't be based off this evidence, right? Where the shooter cannot be based upon where the breadcrumbs, if you like, of evidence are, the trail of evidence are, is to the right-hand side of these rounds. Because the cartridge, I didn't mean to give you more back, I'm sorry, gets ejected to the right,
Yeah.
correct?
So if you look at the totality of this, and the broken glass is over there where the windows are broken and shot through,
Yep.
then chances are the shooter's on the left side because the rounds are getting ejected out the right of the weapon.
So let's talk about that for a second. That's interesting. So, and what you're alluding to is we'll look at a different photograph, but I want to pick up on that. I appreciate that, Adrian. So when you're saying broken glass, you're talking about on this side of the building.
You look at the entire picture,
Yep.
and so in order to get a better picture of where these rounds could have been shot in what direction, if there's no bullet holes or bullet damage on the, like where the white car is, then you can generally assume that it's not being shot in that direction. But if you're looking at these bullets and you see the broken glass, then I'm not saying that that's exactly how it happened, but you kind of can deduce this could be the track that he was going towards the school, shooting at the school.
And I appreciate that, Agent. We're going to talk about all of it. If I could just bring your attention back to the map here.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that, because there was a lot that you just said then, right? And
Yes.
we'll talk about it. It's important. So you said we've got. I agree. We hear in law enforcement. We hear the phrase, or you hear the phrase in criminal investigations, totality of the circumstances, right?
Sure.
And I agree. We've got to look at the totality of the evidence. And I agree with you that the indication is from your evidence is that, and the broken windows that we saw in some of the other state's exhibits, we could look at those, but the jury's already seen those. There are broken windows on the west side of this building
Yes.
that appear to have been shot out by a round, which is possibly by these spent cartridges, right?
Sure.
And that's all along this building. So I agree with you that this is more of an indication of rounds that have been shot into this building, right? What we're seeing on that physical evidence up there that's been admitted.
You can't say for sure, but the indication looks like that could be, yes.
And that's 112. States Exhibit 112.
Is that 112?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so, yeah. And because, like you said, there is no physical evidence that you found over here towards this area here, the pavilion, all these vehicles, right?
Correct.
And because I wanted to talk to you about that next, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. You said that you did several line searches, right?
Yes.
Because I guess that, is it the case that whoever is you, the team leader, or someone else, devises a search plan,
Yes.
and you'll say, we're going to search from west to the school first, right?
Yes.
Maybe with the boundary on here, and then maybe you'll break up another sector later,
Yes.
and then you'll define that search area, and then you'll keep breaking it up into sectors.
Yes.
And like I said, that's what it's kind of painstaking,
It is.
because you have to walk slowly, probably like that, looking at the ground, keep it in line with everyone,
Yes, correct.
so that nobody misses anything. If someone sees something, we stop.
Yes.
Someone gets a flag, you flag it.
Yes.
Okay, then we keep moving.
Yes.
And you keep doing that. And in fact, I think the testimony was that you did it from sort of like Grove along Geraldine to the school, right? First.
Well, the fence line
The
and
fence
the
line.
grass.
Got it.
Yeah.
The fence line is here inside this culvert, but
Yes.
the fence line here. But then you also did it from the south north, right?
Yes.
And you did it. Did you go left to right, from north, south to north, and left to right?
We did so many directions, and we did it multiple times. Because after you do a search, you think, okay, we just did a line search. But then somebody will walk by and go, oh, there's another round.
Yeah.
So now we have to do it again.
Right.
Right? So we did it multiple times.
So you did it multiple times.
Yeah.
You did it multiple times, but you didn't find any evidence of any shells being fired over here to the south of the building.
No.
No evidence at all.
That we saw, no.
The only evidence that you found of any shells being fired or a weapon being fired was consistent with it being fired into that building, right?
When we looked at it, now when we were on the back side, can I show the,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you take a look at the building where the windows were shot out, that's the west side. The east side of that building, there's some broken windows too. But we didn't, when we went, we didn't see any shells, right? But we saw the bullet holes.
Okay, cool. I'm going to put a different picture up so we can get a visual on that. Yeah. Um, 86. Can we put 86 on? Because that's important what you're saying, Agent. I want to talk about that because you actually found some, Agent. If I could bring your attention to this, you actually found a couple of non-spent cartridges, right? A round of ammunition in a couple of places around.
Yeah, we found that too.
Found two, right?
Two or three.
Two or three, and you, while we wait for the picture to come up, you'd agree that they appear to be different.
Correct.
Right. So these ones are all just, the ones we've got here were, that you took the photographs were just brass, and they were brass coloured.
Yes.
And I think the ones, there we go, we'll look at this in a second. The other ones they were a black jacket.
Only one of them was.
One of them was a black jacket, so
Yes.
it indicates a slightly different ground, right?
Yes.
And can you show the jury again where you found that on the map? Please?
Okay.
Judge, can you bring this approach?
So item 14 was found in around this area along the sidewalk.
Yep.
Item 15 was found around this part of the funeral home. There's a parking lot here. It was found in the grass around this area.
Okay, I appreciate it. So, and these, which one? Do you remember which one was the black jacketed round?
I don't remember. I have to take a look, but
One of them was different. That's
Yeah.
fine. So, and I wanted to look at this approach to the television again. So, because this gives us a better overview. This is, so you were saying this is the west side of the building, right?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the building in question. And so, would it be correct to say that where I'm indicating now is the east side?
Yes.
And so, you found what? Would you describe it as a defect or just a broken window?
We thought there were bullet holes.
Bullet holes.
Yeah.
So. It could be a couple of things, right, going on there,
Yeah.
because we don't know. But it could be with this kind of ammunition that what is consistent, I don't need to give you my back, is that you said that this is the same parking lot we're talking about, right?
Yes.
And you didn't find any evidence of any rounds being fired over here towards the south.
Yes.
Right, I don't need to give you my back, right?
That's okay.
But it could be the over-penetration of a round being fired from the west coming out the east.
It could be. There's a hallway
Yeah.
in between, and doors and walls. So to me, I don't know if that would be, from this side.
Or could be fired inside.
Or it could be, sure.
It could be that. I mean, we don't know, but that ammunition is certainly powerful enough to penetrate a building, right? If it goes through glass, it could certainly penetrate that whole building. Possibly.
Possibly.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But it could certainly penetrate from inside out.
I didn't go into the building at that point.
Because you did outside, right?
Yes.
And I guess I haven't asked you yet, but you searched this courtyard area here, right?
Yes.
And you didn't find any evidence of any firing outside there.
We didn't, no.
So when I say evidence of firing, I guess we'd be looking at like the spent casing again.
If I remember correctly, yes. No,
Yeah.
none of the cases. We saw bullet holes in the window.
Right. So one of the last questions I want to ask you is after we spoke, I want to pick up what you said about there, about the rounds that have possibly been fired inside that building. Did you do any kind of trajectory analysis?
We didn't do trajectory, no.
You didn't? Because trajectory analysis would inform us to know by finding whether a defect, so let's talk about a defect. A defect is where or an apparent defect is the terminology that you would use to say this is apparently a hole or damage that could have come from a fired weapon, right?
Yeah, we didn't have access to the inside of the building, so that limited what we could do. And so we only looked for the evidence on the outside.
I
That's it.
know you did, but what I'm saying is to fully inform us to say, hey, these holes in this window go to this hole somewhere else would be to do a trajectory analysis.
That would help.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like
It could
wheel
help.
path analysis where you would, it's almost like geometry, finding where the hole is and you backtrack to see where the round could have been fired from.
Sure.
But that wasn't done,
I don't know.
because that wasn't your remit.
No.
But what we do know is that there were no spent shell casings found on the south of that building, right?
Yeah, we didn't find anything on that side.
Oh.
Or I think the east and the south.
And you didn't find any in the field from the line search from the culvert inside the fence towards the building, right? Let's look at the other map.
So if you're talking about the field between,
This one here, that I'm
Yes.
indicating here.
no, we didn't find.
You didn't find any
anything
here?
there.
No. You didn't find any on the way here. They were just focused on this parking lot, and you didn't find any on the south, right?
Correct.
Just to confirm.
Yes.
Thanks, Agent. I appreciate it. No further questions for the witness.
Agent, I don't know if I need to show you the picture. I will if I need to. Your testimony was, I believe, that exhibit number 6, casing number 6, seemed too far to be from the parking lot. There was one exhibit that you said that.
Looking at that perspective, I mean, I couldn't see the parking lot from that picture, but if you look at it this perspective, I can see that, it could be. It's just a matter of perspective. I need to take a look at all the pictures together.
Maybe if you took a look back, can you tell us where exhibit 6 was on that photograph? About?
Somewhere around here, there's a metal plate in the sidewalk. And so here's the parking lot. The ground was somewhere around here. If the person, if you're saying, if you're tying this to the broken window, because you got to look at the totality of everything. If you're thinking that maybe the guy was shooting here, or somebody was standing here for the round to be there, it's a little bit difficult.
Okay. May I approach you?
Sure.
So if, my understanding is you have casings along here all the way up to here, is that correct?
I think so, yes.
And I'm not talking about direction because you said we're not saying 1 through 6.
Yeah.
I'm saying from here all the way up to here somewhere.
Yes.
Is that correct? And those can be shot, and it helps you a little bit if you know where the bullet ends up, right?
Yes.
I mean, if I'm shooting this way, then if it ejects right, the casing will be
I'll
there.
object to leading judge.
Is that?
Sustain, to rephrase it.
Could you tell us how the impact the bullet has on an object helps you place where a casing is?
Yeah, it sort of gives you a line, right? Because in order to have a line, what do you need? 2 points, right? So if you have a point of impact and you have a casing, you can use that to approximate, hey, that's your 2 points to make a line. What direction was the shot being taken, okay?
And if a shot is being fired into an open field,
Yeah, that's a lot more difficult because now you don't know because you're not going to have an impact. So how do you know where the direction is where the shot's being taken? You only have the location of your casing. Where's your other point to see where it went?
so if we have impacts in the windows and we have casings along here, that can help you. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
If you have casings here, does that tell you if the impacts in the windows came from those casings, or if those casings could be a result of firing into a field?
Well, you don't know, but your best guess would be that it was being shot into the window because you have a broken window.
If you have casings over here, would they explain the broken window?
Sure.
If they explain the broken window, then these casings could be fired into an open field.
They could.
And if you have impact over here, could that also tell you what direction he was shooting?
Sure, because now you have 2 points, right? You have your casing and you have an impact spot. 2 points can make a line.
But you didn't look for impact points, you looked for casings.
We were looking for casings. We didn't have much access to the school itself, so we tried to stay out of the Rangers' way. Texas Rangers were the lead agency.
So Brent, the Texas Rangers would be looking for impact along these other windows.
They had access to all the buildings.
Or other, I said windows, but I mean other buildings, parts of buildings, they would look
Yeah.
for those.
They had access to the buildings. We were focused on the field and on the grass and outside.
Sure. And so casings plus impact would give you a better decision as to where those bullets were going.
Sure.
And that sometimes takes not just your testimony, but somebody else's.
Sure.
And the one thing, though, about these 21 casings, can you tell us, does that indicate to you there's been 21 explosions?
Those are the casings we found.
That means a fired bullet, correct?
Mhm.
Which makes a sound
Yes.
and alerts law enforcement.
So 21 casings means there were at least 21 shots, because there could have been more. I mean, if we didn't find it, then we don't have it, right?
Right.
But 21 casings means there was 21 shots at least.
Okay. And you've been around gunshots?
Sure?
Audible?
I'll be object to leading, Judge.
Are they audible?
Overruled.
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Well, mate, very briefly, Agent. Judge, my approach.
Yes, sir.
Very briefly. So, I think you said that, so we're looking at state 6, right? I think, well, we're not. We're looking at let's look at what you've got here. So, your testimony is that your best guess is that these casings that were found to the southwest side of this parking lot here were fired into this building based on the evidence, right?
My best guess is that because there was a trail of casings,
Yeah.
that the person was going that direction.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the whole scene, if you see impacts, then you got to say, okay, where am I going to attribute that to? Where can I attribute it to? What are the possibilities, right? And so that could be a possibility, yes.
Because you're just one piece of this whole part. Like Mr. Turner said, your testimony is going to, the jury's going to put it together with others. Because we know that unfortunately, eventually, the shooter enters this doorway here. You know that, right?
I learned that later, yes.
Yeah. So you know that.
Yes.
So it's possible this person is traveling, shooting these windows before he enters through that door, right?
Sure.
Okay. And so the prosecutor talked to you about this walkway here, right? Do you know the distance between roughly, I don't mean to give you my back, Adrian, between the end of the building and that walkway?
Not off the top of my head,
We don't?
no.
Okay, we did, no. Can
But,
you give me an estimate?
looking at that, okay, if you take a look at the length of the cars are probably, what, 15, 20 feet, depending on the, so maybe about, where, how far to where?
The end of the building to this walkway here.
Okay, so it's about the length of a car, maybe about 10, 15, 12 feet, something like that.
Okay, fair enough. And so I wanted to pick up on something. Do you mind if I can do it from here. So hypothetically, right, the prosecutor was saying, because you didn't have access to the buildings, right?
No.
So you didn't have any access to these buildings. The prosecutor talked about, if rounds went over here, right?
Yeah, good, yes.
I think he pointed to the top of the screen. I think that's what he did. So to know, let's pretend for a minute there was a round that went from here. Without
Okay.
doing a trajectory analysis, I guess, that could have come from here, could have come from here. We just don't know, right?
Yeah,
Because, like we said, the best guess is that from your evidentiary examination of the scene and the clues that were left behind is that these rounds were fired into this building.
it could have been, yes.
And we also know you didn't find any evidence of shots being fired on the east side of the building, right?
That's correct.
But you found evidence of bullet holes either exiting or entering these windows here on the east, right?
There were bullet holes in the windows, yes.
In the windows. So you don't know if they're coming in or out from the building, right?
That's correct.
But what we do know is you didn't find any evidence of shots being fired in.
That's correct.
So we could possibly deduce from that shots are being fired out, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so if rounds are being fired from inside this building, they could be going anywhere, right?
Sure, I was not in the building.
Right. From my approach again, Jeff. So my last question to you is, so on this overview, we can agree that, roughly speaking, most of the shell cases are found along this border of the parking lot.
I don't remember if it's most,
A lot.
because there were quite a few along the windows.
There was, yeah, you're right. They're right. There were quite a few under these windows.
Yes.
Because you probably didn't recover everything that was fired because you did it outside, right?
We recovered whatever casings we found on the outsides. We recovered.
And a lot of them were close up to the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was, roughly speaking, a group of casings on the south end of this parking lot.
Yeah. So out of the 21, I think there were about 6 or 7 from there, somewhere around there.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah. So what we do know is that your best guess is they're fired into this building here.
Well, based on the broken windows,
Yeah.
but that's, I don't have any more information than what I saw there at that point.
But you didn't find any spent cartridges to the right of this parking lot, did you? Further down to the south.
No, I don't think we found anything further south.
You found nothing further south of
Yeah.
this. Nothing further south of this at all.
I don't think so.
All right.
Mhm.
So the cartridges that are found in this parking lot cannot be the result of someone firing that way further south, right? Because that's not that.
Can you
wouldn't-
rephrase that?
So this is where your 6 or 7, I think you said,
Yes.
spent cartridges were found in a rough group down here.
Correct.
And a rough group is going to give you an indication, of where the shooter was, right?
Yes.
And it's generally to the right hand side of where the shooter was.
Generally, yes.
Generally the shells are generally to the right hand side of where the shooter was.
Yes.
Right? So if the shells are here, and your best guess is that they've been fired into these windows because of the defects and the holes in the windows,
Sure.
right? Then those shells can't be the result of someone firing further to the right, because you would have found shell casings further to the right, correct?
So
Further south?
I can't tell where all of the shots went. Correct, right? I can't tell that. But I don't even know how many bullet holes went into the window, right? So out of those 7 shots, I can't give you a number of how many were shot towards the window, or I can't rule out either if any were shot out. All I can say is we saw casings and we saw broken windows. So you have to be limited to what you can say, right? I can't just make the leap and say, well, there were 3 shot this way and 3 shot that way, and I don't know. So we have to be measured a little bit in what we can say. So we have a grouping of casings, and we have broken windows. Basically, that's about what we can say. With what my role was, I was not able to see inside the building. To go inside the building and see, okay, let's count how many impacts hit the wall, right? So I don't know.
So Agent, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm kind of asking for a yes or no question. You
Yeah.
understand that, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So you said a lot there, so I'm going to ask you some more questions. Right?
Sure.
So it's yes or no, right? Okay. Your evidence you collected, in your professional opinion, it looks like there's a group of spent cartridges at the bottom and the south end of this parking lot. Right?
Yes.
That's a yes. And so your best guess based on this evidence is that those rounds were fired into these buildings.
Yeah, most likely, yes.
Most likely, because maybe it was me. I wasn't asking you where the rounds went.
Okay.
I wasn't asking that. I was asking where the cartridges landed. Because we can agree that when someone fires a weapon, it's a right-handed weapon. In this case, right, I don't mean to point at you, the shell casing gets ejected to the right-hand side.
Yes.
Right? So if somebody is firing a weapon, let's say down here, to the south here, it's most likely, based on physics and what we know about firearms, that the cartridge is going to get ejected to the right-hand side to where I'm standing, somewhere around there.
Yeah, because the ejection port's on the right.
Because ejection port's on the right,
Mhm.
and the ejector claw's on the right, and it pings the cartridge out. So you'd have found, if somebody was standing here, let's say where I'm indicating here to the south of the building, we would expect to find evidence to the right-hand side of it, further south. Maybe.
Yeah,
right?
could be.
And you didn't.
Correct.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, sir, please. I'd like to focus on just one cartridge casing,
Okay.
the one you found the farthest north,
The one on the sidewalk?
over by the parking lot.
Yes.
I think it's number 6, okay? Would you turn to, it'll be slide 19.
What exhibit is that?
19?
Slide 19 or exhibit 19?
Slide 19.
What number that is? It's in evidence. It's in evidence.
Huh?
It's in evidence. Which one? What exhibit is it?
I'm sorry.
What exhibit number?
I think this is exhibit 102.
Okay.
And slide 19 shows the casing, correct?
Number 6. Out of number 6.
Casing number 6,
Yes.
correct?
And I believe the defense has been saying if you had a right ejecting weapon, then you have to be to the left and forward in general terms of that. Correct?
Depends on where the person's shooting.
If they're shooting this direction,
Mhm.
then they would have to be further up and to the left. If the ejection goes over your right shoulder, as he was speaking.
It doesn't go over your right shoulder. It goes out to the right.
Okay.
If you're holding if you're holding a gun like this, your ejection port's right here, to the right. So now it doesn't go backwards behind your shoulder, over your shoulder, right? It just goes to the side.
And they all go exactly perpendicular.
Well, it could be like a little bit, I wouldn't say exactly perpendicular, but generally speaking, out to the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if you're shooting straight down this line, it would be straight to the right, perpendicular. If you're shooting further to the right, then it would be going further back, right?
Well,
Let's
okay.
do it this way.
All right.
Let's do it this way. There's a casing here.
Okay.
Can it land here if I'm shooting this direction?
Sure.
Can it land there if I'm shooting this direction?
Sure.
Can it land here if I'm shooting this direction?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And if there's no buildings in this direction, there's no way to tell if we're shooting that direction.
That's correct.
And if there is a defect on a building here, that tells us it could be where you're shooting.
Yes.
And if there's defects here, you could be shooting there.
Yes.
Which do you pick?
You just, I mean, you don't know. You can't say.
Could witnesses help?
Yes. Just from that, you can't tell, but when the totality, right? We both sides talked about it.
So we
The
want to
totality of it.
listen to witnesses.
Yes.
They can tell us where somebody's standing.
Sure.
Pass the witness.
One question for me, Judge. May I approach?
Yes.
So, let's use this as an example. If there's a shell case in there and I'm pointing that way, right? And the weapon ejects on the right-hand side, right? The shell case is there. I can't be pointing that way, can I, if the shell casing is there?
Not if that shell casing came from that shot that you took from there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, because there's no evidence on the south side of the building, we can deduce from that that no one was firing south of the building in that direction. Possibly.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Pass the witness.
One last question. That's where the casing originally lands. Does foot traffic affect that?
If the foot traffic hits it, yes.
And was there foot traffic at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022?
Oh, it was kind of crazy. Yes.
Hundreds of officers?
There was quite a few. I've never seen that many before at one time. Yes.
And you don't get to cordon off the crime scene until after the crime's over?
That's correct.
So for as long as hours, there can be foot traffic from a number of officers?
I wouldn't say hours because we got there kind of quick. like an hour. It took us an hour and 15 to get there to mobilize. Well, I guess hours it means more than 2. Yes, it could be. Could be.
A couple of hours, that's fair enough. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to stretch it, I just want to, okay. Pass the witness.
Anything else?
Very briefly, Judge, the prosecutor's talking about foot traffic, and I guess what we would call that contamination of a scene, right?
Sure.
I'm not suggesting that in this case because there were a lot of people there. And if I may approach the diagram, Judge, if I may very briefly. So there's a lot of foot traffic. We know there's 374 officers there at some point, right?
There was quite a few. Yes.
Well, and there's lots of emergency responders, lots of people on this scene.
That's correct.
Right. So the prosecutor's talking about one shell casing.
Yes.
Right, one shell casing. But even with all this foot traffic and even this, I'm not suggesting the scene was disturbed, but let's go with the prosecutor's example, right? Because he wants to talk about it, I'll talk about it as well. Despite that, there are still no casings found on the south of this building.
Correct.
And it wouldn't be lined up like that, right? So it could, because sometimes the shell casings get stuck in people's boots,
Sure.
tyres,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Adrian.
Mhm.
Pass witness.
That's all.
Recall is,
No, sir.
okay, sir, you're not subject to recall. The rule has been invoked in this case, so please don't talk about it until you know the trial's over with.
Thank you, sir.